So what we have got going on since I haven't posted a video is I found out after I assembled the motor that the crankshaft was bent. So since the crankshaft was bent, I decided to go ahead and order a new one. And luckily, I watched a video of, what is it? Scooter Swap Shop, yeah. That guy who makes the videos on Scooter Swap Shop. It kind of looks just like this. But he had made a video talking about crankshafts and making sure they were true. And after I watched that video, I decided to check mine to see if it was true. So I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so we've got a dial indicator here magnetized to the vise, and we've got the old stock crank with the bearing just kind of squeezed in the vise. Now I know this is kind of a crude way of measuring it and you can't really be exact, but the shaft right here, if I'm going to rotate this shaft should spin like 100% true, and since it is in the vise, it does have a little bit of bounce, but if I hold tension on it, it's going to sit there at that position right there. And if I sit here and hold tension down, I'm going to try to get as clear of a shot as I can. As I roll this, it goes down, goes back up. So what it's doing, it's fluctuating between, I say it's going to go all the way down to 52 or 53, and then it goes all the way up to 60. Now, you could say that there's play in that bearing, but I have done it more or less a lot true to the way that I'm trying to show it on the video. It's just kind of hard to hold the camera and do it all at the same time. But what I've come up with a calculation of about 6 to 7 thousandths it's out of round. So the reason it's out of round is totally my fault. So it came down to trying to put the case together and not really knowing what I was doing. So what I chose to do was leave the bearings on the crank because I didn't know really how to get them off. But what I did, I ended up heating the case from this side with a blowtorch. And when you do, this hole here expands ever so slightly and you can drop the bearing in. And then you have to do the same to this side. You have to heat this, and then you have to marry the two together. And when you marry the two together, you have to make sure you've got your Honda Bond or your Permatex. What I chose to use is Permatex Ultra Gray. I've had great luck with this, great success with all my Honda engines that I built for automotive in the past. So that's kind of what I chose to use. But yeah, the problem is when you look down in these holes, you've got to see half of your bearing protruding out, not all the way completely closed. And what happens, I believe oil mixture goes down in there and lubricates your bearings. So the problem was when I had pieced it together, the crankshaft was sitting off to one side, and now it had to be centered back up. So what you're supposed to do is pull on the crank, and if you pull on one side, the problem is, we'll come over here, if you were to come over here and pull on this shaft, there is nothing right here that is going to prevent you from pulling this and bending this. So that's the issue. You're going to bend this little area right here, and you don't want to bend that area. So what I ended up doing, I went to scootertuning.ca and I went ahead and ordered this bad boy here right there. So this is a Athena crankshaft. It was about $127. And it looks beautiful. So what I've got coming in is I've got two Polini bearings. We're gonna get some new bearings and put them together, and I will show you in the future video about that. Now, one thing I noticed about this crank, the rod here has got a slice to allow oil and lubrication to get to those roller bearings in there. You can kind of see those. This is a whole lot better crankshaft and connecting rod than what was on the original Honda model. So we have the stock crank here. It still has the bearings on it. Now, just disregard the color of that. I heated that to try to get it off and it turned it discolored. But this whole setup here is trash right now, so that's just going to go in the pile. And this is your Athena crank. So if you hold them side by side, I have yet to do this, you can kind of tell there's a little bit more metal on the Athena than on the stock Honda crank. And the idea behind that is this is going to take up more volume inside of the crankcase here, which when the piston comes down, it provides a higher amount of pressure inside of the crankcase, which allows for better fuel mixture. And then when the piston comes down far enough, when the piston comes down and all that is under pressure, that fuel and oil mixture, those ports inside of there, the pressurized mixture, the piston goes just below that to where the mixture comes out, and now it's inside the combustion chamber. And since it was under more pressure, it will now go in stronger. So I believe the combustion cycle should be stronger with a crank like this. I might be totally wrong, but you don't have a longer rod or or a fatter crank to where your stroke is different. But I believe what it is, the counterweights on this take up more volume of the crankcase. So that is what the benefit of this is. And then also we have our output shaft is going to be completely true in this situation. So now that we have a new crank, since we are going with the Polini Corsa kit, and they did recommend a crankshaft, and I was just trying not to spend the money. But for $127, you've already spent so much money on all this stuff. Why not spend $127 on a crankshaft to where you have that added insurance, to where you don't have to worry about any of that, oh, I don't want to rev it to 12,000 RPM, or oh, I might worry about breaking my crank. Now all that's gone, so I'm not going to worry about it. So tomorrow the bearings should come in, and once the bearings come in, I'll make a video of assembling it, and y'all will hopefully watch that and enjoy it as much as I do putting it together. So please stay tuned for that video to come. What we've got in the box here, we've got a CDI, so I believe the stock RPM rev limiter is around 8,000, and by changing this out, okay, got it out of the box. Alright, so now by changing out your CDI, this is going to increase your rev limiter. And apparently I believe this is a 12,000 RPM rev limit, so it was only like 38 bucks. They offered one in there that was a whole lot more in the $100 range. I didn't choose to go with that one just because it's kind of a budget build. So we've got the CDI, which was more or less a definite. This was what was on back order. They went ahead and just sent me whatever color they had in stock. I'll show you where this goes. So since we are taking the oil plug out of the situation, or the oil pump, this is where the oil pump goes, and this plug takes the place of that. So this will go right down in there, and that will seal. I'm not going to press it all the way in, but this is going to seal up. We're going to put some Honda Bond in there. That way we know it's 100% sealed, and then we just we lock it down. We've got the new battery
for the scooter, and we've got some orange fuel line here. So
that's about it. If you come over and look at the bike, I've got both of my tires mounted on my rims. I went ahead and cleaned up the rims. I soaked them in CLR, got all the rust off of them, scrubbed them with a Brillo pad. I've got, this would be your front wheel. I went ahead and I cleaned up the front brake assembly and got the bearing all oiled up and lubed up. See how pretty that is? I think it looks damn good. Got the new tires on there. And right now what I'm working on is kind of the front suspension area. I'm cleaning it up. I've got the rear sway arm painted. A few of the plastic pieces on the front here, I went ahead and coated them in plastic dip. So, but yeah, that's where we are for now. These are the struts. Went ahead and coated those, painted those. Everything on this bike was pretty much thrashed after being, you know, all these different owners. So I'm trying to make it look as good as I possibly can. I went ahead, here are the new oil seals. You always want new oil seals. There's the small one, there's the big one. Went ahead with, instead of the head bolts, we went with head studs. The reason I decided to get the studs, when you sit here and you look at this motor, so you take that top unit, and that top unit slides down here in this. Now, you've got your cylinder head, your cylinder, and then the piston and all that. That is all held together by the 4 studs. So these 4 bolts here is the only thing that holds the head on, that holds this on, that allows this to be sealed and to keep it all compressed. So if either one of those 4 bolts fail, the unit's going to leak, and then it's going to run lean, and then it's going to burn itself up. So just by getting head studs, that should give me a little bit better strength and a little bit more clamping force to where I can really squeeze down on this. And before, I hadn't put Honda Bond on this. I just used the gasket. This time I will put the Permatex on here, and then put the gasket on, and then more Permatex on top of the gasket, and then put it down. So, but yeah, that's kind of where we are for now. Stay tuned. That's all I can really say for now. Thank y'all for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and see y'all next time.